is a particular kind of image that society has so well ingrained in us subconsciously that we judge everything people, things, music, art, talent, sports, anything we perceive really. We judge it and base it off of this standard baseline that they have given us, that they've told us. This standard isn't anything more than one particular kind of art, of face, of body, of athleticism. Okay? This standard is a kind of it. There are so many different kinds. All of them are equal. One is not worth more than the other. This image looks a certain way, sounds a certain way, behaves a certain way, where if you look this way, if you sound this way, if you perform this way, then you're it. You're the standard and you're talented. It's come to a point now where if you aren't any of those things, which you're not, probably, because we're so different, we're so individualistic, where every one in a couple million people are like you. If you don't hit it, then suddenly you're less and you're worse. We have always judged people's abilities and worthiness based off of what they sound like and what they look like. It's always been like that because that's what society has said. If you look the part and if you play the part, then you are the part and you're accepted. And that's how we've learned to judge each other. That's why we're so negative all the time. That's why we're so mean. That's why we're so selfish. That's why we'll look at each other and be like, yeah, you could do better than that. But just because someone doesn't look a certain way or live a particular way doesn't mean that it's bad. Just because someone could change their way to fit this standard that you have, does it mean that theirs is wrong? No. And while this is so prevalent in the fashion industry and in like the body standards and everything, obviously, I mean, this can be spoken for a lot of things, but obviously those two things, because that's what people talk about the most. This heavily applies to the music industry. Raise your hand if you've personally been victimized by this image that society has created. There's no shame in admitting it. There isn't. It's not like a shameful thing. I didn't realize it was so shameful to be something else, to be someone else, to be someone that you were born to be. I mean, it's not. But if we're all different naturally and we're all supposed to behave, sound, act, look in different ways, then why is it shameful to not meet a specific standard that some arbitrary society has given us? And this is so deep. I didn't expect to start off on a high like this. Okay, hello. We're talking about Sleep Token today, which is honestly the way I feel about this band is the reason why they're faceless is to mask the truth that they're not men, they're gods. When I listened to Sleep Token for the first time, it felt like I found the music I'd been searching for all my life. So if those 2 points of how I feel about Sleep Token aren't proof enough for you that I'm qualified to speak on this, then I don't know what is, okay? And also, I never grew out of my emo metalcore phase since like junior high school. So you can shut your mouth. I don't give a fuck. I've dealt with it all before. Sleep Token is one of those bands where you either love or you hate. And if you hate them, then you're a pea-brained, delusional, bonehead mess of a person who thinks that banging pots and pans and screaming is the only way that should be called metal, and that's like the most important thing in a band. It's fucking not. I didn't know if you knew this, but music is art too, okay? And writing is very important, not only to people like me, okay? Not only to people like me, but also writing is so important to art and music in itself. We can literally talk about this for hours. I will. Do you want to? Okay, let's keep going. But what is music? What is music? It's been a way to express things that we deeply feel. It's a way to build community. It's a way to celebrate. That is what we've always made it out to be. So, if you're around here telling me that something isn't metal enough for you, that it's bad, or are you sitting around telling me that, ew, it doesn't meet this industry standard pop? Vessel's voice doesn't meet this industry standard powerhouse, bright. His voice isn't. I really like 5 Seconds of Summer. Obviously, I have Michael's tattoo. Okay, his voice isn't like a Luke Hemmings. Okay, his voice isn't a Harry Styles. I'm not a Taylor Swift. I'm not an Ariana Grande. I'm not a Sabrina Carpenter. That's like the industry standard. That's the baseline. All those people get so much praise because they can look, sing, act, behave, play this part. And if you are this part, instantly success. Sleep Token isn't that. They don't look the part. You don't even know what they look like. Vessel doesn't sound the part. He doesn't have a standard lead singer's voice. And I think that's why I love them so much. I mean, obviously, other than their like god tier musicianship, their storytelling is insane to me. I absolutely love it. And once you get sucked in, especially if you love reading books and if you love storytelling, dude, their lore, the way they write is mind boggling. I don't even have the words for it. I think it's so cool. It's so fascinating. And they got popular because of their more progressive sound, which people have problems with progressive metal, which I think is why do you have problems with anything at all? Why do you have problems with music? If someone's doing something and you have a problem with it, who cares? I don't remember when artists made music for the listener. Artists make art because they need to. Like, there's something innately in them that is telling them to do this. Like, you think that Vessel wrote this? Like, this is going to get a lot of listens. I'm going to make a lot of money off of this. No, he did it because he had to. If he didn't have to, if he was just doing this, why do you think they would be faceless? Growing up, I found myself comparing myself heavily to this standard, this idea. Like my voice is a lot deeper and warmer than a lot of girls. And I hated it for so long because I would sing and play music with people all the time. And we weren't bad, but we weren't like we were 14. Okay. We were 14. Okay. And we loved music. And that's why we started playing. And that's why it was good because we loved it and we enjoyed it and we had fun. I, I didn't really sing that much because I didn't have the standard voice for a female singer. I can't do crazy high notes. I'm not a powerhouse. I don't have a bright bell like whatever voice you want to call it. My voice is deeper and it was always so much easier for me to sing the male parts. So I never sang because we had a guy to sing the male parts and a girl who could actually hit those notes sing the girl part. And I don't know why it affected me so much. I do think it's because of this standard, because society says that if you look the part, sound the part, play the part, you are the part. And I wasn't the part because I didn't sound the part. And I already struggled with how I looked. I feel like all girls typically do, but like everything combined, it just affected me and it made it very difficult for me to sing and authentically express myself through music, which is something that I had been doing since I was like 6. I started playing piano when I was like 5 or 6 or something like that. I don't remember. But it's been so ingrained in me as a form of self-expression, playing music, playing the piano specifically, and singing, that now that this superficial filter was put on top of me. Now I'm like, well, now I have to look a certain way while doing it. So, in order to express myself, I have to not only sound good, but a particular kind of good that is very difficult for me to naturally find. And I mean, I'm not out here about to take a bunch of voice lessons. I did for one semester, actually. I took voice lessons for one semester, and she said that if I wanted to like take lessons, I had to be a part of her theater stuff, and I just didn't. That's not the type of self-expression I kind of identified with, you know? I was literally out here listening to bands like Bring Me the Horizon and stuff. And you're gonna tell me that I can there's no fucking way. Okay. And don't get me wrong, I respect all forms of art and music. All of it is amazing to me. But come on. Some of it was made for other people. Some of it was made for you. I found myself comparing myself to other people, hating my voice and hiding my voice. And due to many things, I had some vocal damage. And it's really sad that this standard and this comparison has done that. And it's like, yeah, it was my fault, but I was a kid. Okay. And why are we putting such standards on music like that, anyways? And so I really tried to find other girl singers and other bands, other people who might have a voice like that. And I found some, but nothing really stuck until I found Sleep Token. Now, Vessel's a man, I know. And I'm comparing my voice to his, which I always hate when people compare my voice to other men. Like, it pisses me the fuck off. But it's different with him because we have such similar voices. I've never listened to a band and have been able to sing along with the lead singer as much as I can him. And I fell in love with it because of that. Their amazing music, storytelling. It's just the perfect recipe for my like perfect band. Like I genuinely feel like I've been looking for this music all my life. And now that I've heard it, I it's like I found the meaning of life in a deeply weird and interconnected, like interpersonal way, I think. Why make music at all if you're doing it for someone else? What's the point of art? Like I said, you make art because it has to get out of you. And if it has to get out of you, it's going to regardless. So, what better way than to authentically express yourself? So, why does it matter if I can't hit the craziest notes? Why does it matter if I can't do all of these insane vocal techniques? If it's coming from the heart, it's going to sound good. It's going to sound authentic and very personal and unique. It's coming from a unique place that can't be duplicated. It isn't some industry standard. It isn't some sort of image that can be replicated over and over. It's from like the heart. It's a type of passion that artists have that Vessel clearly has, and he has really honed in on. He can get better over time, and he has, but that's because he's exercised himself and he's gotten better at becoming the artist that he is. And the whole band has. They've all developed like their own unique parts into who they are. Like this the artistry in it, they've always been that. It's always been there. It's just the more and more that you ingrain yourself in true, authentic, passionate work, the more you'll become like the person that you're supposed to. The more you'll become more of the artist that you're supposed to. And that makes it look better. And yes, we can say it boils down to them finding better techniques or Vessel being able to sing longer on tour, because I know tour can really wear people out. That can come into play. But if you're not fully secure in yourself as an artist, and if you're not confident enough and trustworthy enough of yourself to be passionate and to put out art that is authentic, it's not going to be good. In fact, personally, the majority of artists that I listed that do meet this standard aren't my favorite because it doesn't feel authentic. And I know I just pissed off huge fan bases that are going to be at my throats, but have you listened? Like, have you truly identified a piece of real, authentic work that came from someone's heart to something that's played on the radio? It's a bit different. At least I can see the difference, and that's why I haven't been able to get into popular music. And it's not like other girls thing. I just know real music. It's that I want to feel something real for once, don't you? Don't you want to feel something real and listen to a story that hasn't been told or that has been told in a new way? Like, I want that and I crave that. And it's not pretentious, okay? If you have desensitized yourself enough, and if you have killed enough brain cells that you can't find the deeper meanings in everything, then why are you giving your opinion at all? It's not my fault that you're like intellectually underdeveloped in art. Everything people say, well, it's not that deep. Yes, it is. Everything is. Music is that deep. It's music, it's art. It's some of the deepest interpersonal relationship, like a device basically to create community and to communicate. What are you talking about? It's not that deep. Yes, it is. Gonna piss me off now. I came in here with fire. I'm sorry. It's not my fault. And so, all of this to say, I truly did find my confidence and self expression through a stupid little progressive metal band from the UK. And I know that sounds crazy. It sounds stupid and like I'm living in some kind of dreamland, but why wouldn't I want to live in a dreamland? Have you seen Reality recently? What are you talking about? I have been super insecure about the way I sound, the way I look. I've always wanted to make YouTube videos and I've always wanted to sing. I've always wanted to communicate with people, but I just couldn't because I was too caught up in my image and how I sounded like and how I am doing my art. It doesn't matter how you do it. It matters of how much you care about it. Sleep Token, I have found, have really showed me that. It's like, what is life? What is the meaning of life if you don't make it as deep as it should be. I'm so glad that you are so content with superficial relationships and superficial experiences and fun, but I'm not satisfied. Even whenever we have deep discussions, I always want more. It's because what is life than to always search for it, than to always seek, than to always have conversations? Because there is no finish line until we die. Am I right? Like, what else is the meaning of life? What other meaning do we have? To work and then die? Maybe it's because I'm from America, honestly.